What is going on, everybody, and welcome to the latest installment of Cronkite Sports Live here from our beautiful downtown Phoenix studio. My name is Andre Sims. To my right, that's Nick Batters. And Nick, it's good to be back up here with you. I figured I would put an end to this whole anchor partner speed dating that you were going through and provide some consistency in your life.
Andre, they're not proper words in the English language for me to express how happy I am to have you here, but I'll believe it's consistent when I see you right back here with me in a couple of weeks.
You know what? That's fair. Stay tuned to see if I'm here in 2 weeks. But one thing that has been a little bit more consistent than your anchor dating life has been ASU baseball.
No, you're absolutely right. The team started 21-0. And last weekend finally lost to Oregon, but still 22-1 right now. On that Saturday game, they came back from down 4 runs to take the Oregon Ducks into extras, but for the first time this season, could not come out on top, falling 5-4 on a walk-off home run of the 12th. The Devils rebounded well on Sunday, though, beating Oregon 7-3 and taking the series. This moved them to 5-1 in Pac-12 play, with 8 conference series remaining on the schedule. Through 23 games, the team is hitting a collective .344 with 38 home runs and 211 runs batted in. This weekend, the Tarps down the left field line are coming off, and ASU welcomes rival Arizona to town for a 3-game weekend set. A crucial Territorial Cup point stands in the line, and with the Arizona State offense scorching hot, we're excited to welcome ASU hitting coach Mike Earley to the show. He joins us live from Phoenix Municipal Stadium. And Mike, I mentioned the numbers a little earlier on, but ASU's offense has been the best in the country to this point. What have you seen from your hitters that's contributed to that?
I just think it's been a lot of work that these guys have put in. I mean, they're grinders and they're obsessed with being good hitters. So it's a combination of what we built on last year, and those guys just continuing to work and get better each and every day.
Just over your left shoulder is that new multi-million dollar hitting facility that was installed in the offseason. How has that helped your hitters?
It's just guys are in there all the time, and those who hit often, man. And that's what they do. They're in here day, morning, night, sometimes late at night. So it's just really, it's an easy place to come to work.
On Saturday against Oregon, the bats weren't quite there. There wasn't really any consistency. But on Sunday, things turned around. 7 runs that you guys put up on the Ducks. What does it say about your offense that they were to bounce back from the first loss of the season like that?
It's just we're never out of it. We're never out of it. It looked like we were asleep, and then they bring in a guy who's throwing 98 miles an hour, and bam, we're right back in the game. So I mean, for us, it's just a matter of when. Sometimes it's early, sometimes it's late. But when you got a relentless lineup like we got, it's coming at some point.
Very exciting games this weekend. University of Arizona comes to town. The Territorial Cup is on the line. How excited are you for these games, and what do you think we should expect?
It's going to be a lot of energy. I mean, we're going to have to calm our emotions. I think it's going to be the biggest thing. I think if we just play our game and not really look at the rivalry, look at it as another game, which is tough. I understand that. I think we're going to come out and take care of business.
Awesome. Thanks so much for joining us. Arizona State, University of Arizona, first pitch tonight at Phoenix Municipal Stadium, 7 p.m.
Death, taxes, and Zahid Valencia being good at wrestling. Once again, Valencia summited the NCAA mountaintop, defending his national title in the 174-pound weight class. The redshirt junior from Bellflower, California, took on Mark Hall, one of the only wrestlers in the country to have success against him, from Penn State. Earlier in the season, Hall beat Valencia for the second time head-to-head, and Valencia was looking to swing the overall record in his favor, and he did just that, winning his second national title by a score of 5-4. And now switching gears to the ASU gymnastics team, they just recently wrapped up competing in the Pac-12 tournament, and WCSN's Carly Mathias made the trip up to Utah to recap all that went down.
On Saturday, the Arizona State Gym Devils competed in the Pac-12 Gymnastics Championships in West Valley City, Utah. ASU competed in the first session against Washington, Stanford, and Arizona as a 6th seed, but the team knew they had the ability to get to that next level.
We started off the meet chanting family, because we knew that we were in this together. No matter what happened, we were going to have everyone's back, and we proved that out there. We just went out there and no matter what happened, we killed it. And then we went into the meet feeling like we already won, no matter what happened, because we had each other.
The Gym Devils got things started on the uneven bars, where they put up 2 scores of 9-9 or better for the first time on the event all year, with Morgan Hart's 9-9 and Kyra Leonard Baker's 9-9-5. ASU ran into some trouble on the balance beam, but the Gym Devils came together to put that behind them, bouncing back in the 3rd rotation on the floor exercise. Leonard Baker once again led the way with a 9-9-2-5. Barely trailing Stanford, ASU closed out the meet on vault, where it put up its 3rd event total of 49+ in the meet. Back Back-to-back scores of 9.85 from Jess Ginn and Caitlin Safransky vaulted the Gym Devils ahead of the Cardinal. ASU finished in first place in Session 1 and 5th overall. Session 2 lived up to its hype with 4 perfect 10s being scored, and UCLA ultimately taking the title back to Westwood for the second consecutive year. With regionals on the horizon, head coach Jay Santos stressed the importance of this team rallying behind one another to compete at a high level.
At this time of year, when it means the most, at Pac-12 championships, NCAAs, and things like that. So, the fact that they were ready and prepared and really confident in so many areas today, is just, it's amazing to see. I'm really proud of what we did today.
Although the Gym Devils weren't showered with confetti at the end of the night, their 5th place finish was the program's best since 2004. From the Maverick Center in Utah, Carly Mathias, Cronkite Sports.
In case you haven't heard, Arizona State men's hockey is playoff bound. For the first time in its Division I history, the Devils yesterday went cross-country to Allentown, Pennsylvania, where they will face Quinnipiac on Saturday in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Should they win, ASU would face either Minnesota Duluth or Bowling Green for a chance to go to the Frozen Four. For Sun Devil hockey, this postseason berth is the biggest opportunity in the program's young history, and the players know what it took to make it a reality.
Yeah, everyone here came here knowing it was a new program, and this was something that we were going to have to struggle for a few years and kind of take our lumps and bumps and keep moving, and everyone in the locker room has been so deserving of what we have now.
Ahead of Saturday's contest, WCSN reporters Riley Trujillo, Michael Gutnick, Hunter Hipple, and Reagan Smith broke down everything you need to know about the matchup.
All right, guys, so what do you expect coming out of this week's matchup?
Well, anyone who knows me knows I've been on this Quinnipiac train since the beginning of this season, and they're a special team. They have 13 freshmen, 9 of them play regularly, and then you also have to look at the senior defenseman, Chase Prisky, 39 points this season, and he was suspended for the ECAC playoffs, so you know when he comes back against ASU, he's going to be playing with a lot of fire.
Definitely. And what do you think, Michael?
Well, one of the most intriguing matchups about this game is the goaltending. For the Sun Devils, Joey Decord leads the country with 7 shutouts. And on the other end, Andrew Shortridge has the highest save percentage in the league with 940, and he has the lowest goals against. So that is something you have to look out for in this first game.
And Hunter?
Yeah, I think Michael goes with the goaltending. I think it's actually going to be the offense. Against Minnesota, ASU was without Johnny Walker, and it completely devastated their offensive attack. They're going to need him back and fully healthy for this series. Quinnipiac scores the 6th most goals in the country.
Definitely. So what are your guys' predictions for this weekend?
It's going to sound weird. It's going to be a goalie showdown, but a lot of offensive firepower on both sides. I think it's going to be 5-3, and I think Quinnipiac moves on.
Okay, and Michael?
Last year, these two teams faced off. Quinnipiac won 5-3. I say the Sun Devils win this one 3-2 in a tight one.
Okay.
I'm going to go 5-4 Quinnipiac. I think the Bobcats are the better team, but I feel like their offensive attack is just a little bit better than ASU's, and I think they do have the better goaltender.
The Sun Devils match up against Quinnipiac on Saturday at 7:30. Make sure to tune in. Thanks for watching.
After getting bounced in the round of 32 last season, ASU women's basketball has marched on into the Sweet 16 in Portland this weekend. And for more on the Sweet 16 matchup that they face going forward, we bring in Gareth Kwok. Gareth, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Andre.
And now, we talked about it. They're in the Sweet 16, only reached the round of 32 last year. So what was different this season that allowed them to get past that second round and into the Sweet 16?
Well, I think you saw ASU's stingy defense on full display at the Watsco Center that weekend. And I mean, a game that they were expected to win against UCF, they held the Knights just 16 points in the first half, 32% shooting for the whole game. And then against Miami, it was their defense down the stretch that allowed them to get the victory. Robbie Ryan, Courtney Ekmar combined for a huge steal at the very end on Miami's second to last possession. Miami could have won the game on that possession. Instead, ASU gets the steal. They're able to knock down a couple free throws to come ahead, and then another defensive stop that eventually got ASU the win and propelled them into the Sweet 16.
And now one of the trademarks of a Charlie Turner Thorne-led team is the depth. It's contributions from everyone across the roster. How important has that been to this year's run?
Oh, it was huge, and I think it was on full display again against Miami, and you can see it there when the bench outscored the starting lineup 29-28. Jamie Rudin and Sophia Alenga. Rudin, her ability to shoot beyond the arc with a 3-ball. Sophia Alenga was huge in that fourth quarter. She had her ability to drive inside the paint, knock down a big-time jumper with about 2 minutes left to go. So in that instance, the starting line wasn't on their A game, but when you have the depth, as you mentioned, Andre, their depth and their ability to score, without that, ASU doesn't reach a Sweet 16.
And now going forward, looking ahead at that Sweet 16 matchup, it's against Mississippi State. And if you know anything about women's basketball, the conversation stops there. That is a storied program. They've won a national title recently over UConn. What does ASU need to do to get past the Bulldogs?
Well, I think in two short phrases, they got to be physical and must score. And Tierra McCowan, 6'7" big for Mississippi State, no exception. ASU has had a lot of trouble with bigs this season. You can see it there. Mississippi State's offense, almost averaging 87 points per game. They out-rebound ASU. So I think if you're the Devils, the defensive mindset has got to be to make McCowan uncomfortable, try to be physical with her, and just get her out of her comfort zone. And as far as the offense goes, Arizona State, they're going to have to set the tone immediately for the game. I think the last thing that they want to do is play catch-up against a Bulldogs team that is one of the most potent offenses in the nation. So I think every team, every player on the ASU roster from top to bottom, doesn't matter if it's a starting lineup or the bench, they got to have their shooting stroke right from the get-go in order to have a chance in this one.
Excellent stuff there, Gareth, as always. But our women's basketball coverage doesn't stop there. Our own Eliav Gabai made the trip up to the Pacific Northwest and has more. Eliav?
Thanks, Andre. The Sun Devils' road to Tampa Bay continues here in Portland with their biggest challenge so far in number 1 seeded Mississippi State. The Bulldogs boast a stifling defense led by 2 All-SEC first-team members in Anriel Howard and Tierra McCowan. Arizona State head coach Charlie Turner-Thorne believes her team is used to this level of competition.
Playing Baylor, playing Louisville, playing Oregon twice, playing Stanford twice, I really do feel that this team knows this level of play. I mean, different styles. I would say the one difference that's really going to be challenging against Mississippi State is the caliber of defense they play. I mean, they are going to pressure for 40 minutes, and we have to be able to handle that. If we handle that, then I like our chances.
ASU will take on Mississippi State right here at the Mona Center later today at 6 p.m. Back to you guys at the desk.
ASU baseball isn't the only team facing U of A this weekend. Another team with the Territorial Cup point on the line is ASU softball, who this weekend travels south to take on the Wildcats. The Sun Devils are feeling a bit of momentum after a sweep against Utah last weekend, which they earned with a dramatic 9-run, bottom of the 7th comeback win over the Utes. For more, we welcome in ASU softball reporter Gabrielle Ducharmin. Gabby, ASU is leading the nation in runs and home runs per game, and they showed that in the comeback against Utah. What are the keys to ASU's offensive firepower?
Well, Arizona State's offensive firepower has been absolutely dominant this season. The Sun Devils are averaging just about 9 runs a game, and that's leading the nation currently in scoring. Their offensive firepower really starts at the very top of their hitting lineup with Maddie and Kendra Hackbarth, the twin sisters. Both of them have absolutely dominated from behind the plate, and it was no different on Sunday when they beat Utah in that huge comeback victory at the very bottom of the 7th. Both Hackbarth sisters absolutely dominated in that game. And then it goes also to Morgan Howe. All of their hitting from top to bottom has been absolutely dominant, and their head coach Trish Ford just stated last week that a lot of that just comes from pure confidence. The team worked very, very hard in the offseason on a lot of different sets where they had 2 outs or they were really struggling to make it happen, but all of that training and all that hard training in the offseason, it seems, has really paid off and given them the confidence they've needed to absolutely dominate on the offensive end of that softball field.
And we saw the graphic there, an absolutely phenomenal comeback from an offensive standpoint. But switching to the circle, coming into the season with a whole new staff, they've had some good games, including a couple of one-hitters. But the pitching staff has also had some serious struggles. How are they doing?
Well, the pitching staff has really gotten better as the season's gone along. They're led by 2 girls who are brand new to this ASU team, freshman Abby Anderson and transfer student from Fresno State, Samantha Mejia. Both have really kind of led Arizona State within that circle, and both have really gotten more confident as the season has gone on. Anderson won the series last weekend against Utah, and Mejia has also won multiple games this season. As you can see down below, Abby Anderson has a 3.03 ERA, and she's won nine games now on the season. And Mejia has also dominated, winning with another 12 wins. As they move on more now into Pac-12 play, it's going to be huge for this Arizona State squad to maintain their consistency in the pitching circle.
So the pitching in the circle has been good. The hitting in the box has been fantastic as well. And as a result, ASU sits 25-8. 5-1 in Pac-12 play, but they have some really tough series coming up against some top-ranked teams in Arizona and UCLA. What would you expect from the rest of the season?
Well, Arizona and UCLA are going to be their two biggest tests of the season thus far. This ASU squad has been battle tested as they did go to the Women's College World Series last season, but due to a few transfers and some girls graduating at the start of the 2019 season, this squad was essentially brand new. So they will be tested against UCLA and University of Arizona. But it's going to be fun to watch. I mean, if their offensive firepower can continue to grow and continue to remain consistent as it has all season long, I think the Sun Devils squad could end up making some noise, not only in Pac-12 play, but also in the Women's College World Series.
Gabby, thanks so much. We appreciate your insight on the show. Both ASU and Arizona are ranked, and this weekend the two meeting in Tucson is going to be a great series. WCSN's Troy Tauscher, he has more on the storylines that are worth keeping an eye on in this Territorial Cup matchup.
While no rivalry game is without intrigue, Arizona State softball's weekend trip down to Tucson is shaping up to be one of the most interesting Territorial Cup matchups of the year. For freshman pitcher Michaela Santa Cruz and outfielder Yanni Acuna, the series is their first chance to return to their roots since donning the maroon and gold. Growing up in Tucson, there was one softball matchup that Santa Cruz was always looking forward to.
My dad would make me go, but the one game that I loved the most was always the ASU U of A game. I always waited for that. I would come up here for the U of A ASU game, and I'd always be cheering for ASU.
Santa Cruz and the rest of the pitching staff will face an Arizona offense with a calling card very similar to ASU's, hitting a lot of home runs. At 1.94 and 1.84, the Devils and Wildcats rank first and second in the nation respectively in long balls per game. With two of the top home run hitting teams in the nation set to go full force at each other, the forecast is in for Tucson this weekend, and Hillenbrand Memorial Stadium should be expecting quite a bit of rain. But the biggest driver in the matchup between number 11 Arizona and number 17 Arizona State is the desire to one-up the other side.
You'll never lose that no matter how old and washed up I am. And, I just think I love that. I love the competition. I love the intensity. I love the atmosphere. I love being booed. Like, bring it, and then I love when we quiet them. The two sides are set to begin what could be one of the most interesting Pac-12 series of the season on Friday at 7 p.m. In Tempe, Troy Tauscher, Cronkite Sports.
Bright times at Farrington Stadium, but more importantly, bright times here in the studio right now as we head to social media, and the bright face of Jackson Zuber joining us. Jackson, thanks for being here.
Oh my gosh, that compliment is amazing, but it's not just for me, it is for my hair and makeup team. They spent hours on this. I gotta thank them for getting me ready to do this, but the tweets were all me. This is all my prepared. That's how I came in ready to go. The first one, it's tournament season in college sports.
Absolutely.
But more importantly, it is academic bowl season at ASU, and Cronkite, they were in there. They were a low seed. I'm not gonna lie, they came in low, but they were able to come up with a huge upset, defeating the Fulton School of Engineering. I mean, that's insane. I mean, they're supposed to be the smart guys. We're supposed to just be able to look pretty and talk, but, I mean, I do that at least. I don't know about you guys. But how do you feel about that, Cronkite beating them?
Look, honestly, people tweet, this is March, and this is why.
Yeah.
Academic bowl season is better than the college football bowl season as far as I'm concerned.
Andre, you're graduating I guess a little over a month now.
I am.
And the stock of your degree is just, it's rising. It's going to be
skyrocketing.
Absolutely so much.
Shouts to you, Jake Garcia. Stock's rising on our degrees.
Another guy that's leaving coming up pretty soon, ASU, N'Keal Harry. He had his pro day, and our own Rob Warner was out there working hard. There it is right there, and we can see him there. He's got the mic ready. I'm sure he got that quote. He got that out of him. I mean, he was working it. That's what Rob does. He was doing a great job. Was he doing as great job of us? I don't know, but N'Keal was right about here. One-handed grab. Oh! Easily with the left hand. Let's see it one more time, slow motion.
Holy cow.
I mean, wow. Now, I know I could do that probably, I'd say 6 out of 10 times easily, but I mean, you guys, what do you think? Like, after 1,000 tries, maybe?
Honestly, I give myself about 500 and probably a broken finger.
Okay, all right.
That's bold. There's a reason I stopped playing baseball in 8th grade. My hand-eye coordination isn't there. So I'm going to give myself maybe 2 or 3 catches, plus or minus 2.
Oh, that's pretty good. We'll take that. But all this talk about running around and catching footballs is making me starving.
Me too, yeah.
When I'm hungry, I want to get some Canes. I'm not going to lie.
You and me both.
It's been too long.
It's amazing. But they kind of made a bit of a misstep here, I want to say. So Chance here, he's the mascot for the Golden Knights, and he went to Canes with Sparky, which does not look like him at all. He says, bring my cousin Caniac back, and Josh got it right. This is absolutely terrifying. I mean, it stares right into your soul. It's so scary. What do you guys think about this?
I have a huge problem with this. I'm sorry. Troy Tauscher, our executive producer, please don't let Jackson back on the show. This is terrifying. This is terrible. I don't even want to see that again. There's a reason ASU redesigned the mascot a few years ago.
Yeah, that seems like a very off-brand version of Sparky, and that zoom in as it just kept getting closer and closer and closer. Yeah, that was uncomfortable.
I need to talk to our graphics department.
I thought it did a pretty good job at that. You didn't like the zoom in? No?
Yeesh.
Debatable.
Debatable indeed.
Really good tweets, though. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you. I hope you guys let me back on after scaring you a little bit.
Fiery hot segment. Good stuff as always. Also off to a hot start, it's ASU Beach Volleyball. But they did begin to slow down a little bit this past weekend. The Sand Devils lost to number 2 USC, number 5 Pepperdine, and then twice to number 6 Hawaii. But while ASU lost, WCSN certainly didn't, as our own Reed Harmon was there and talked with junior Caitlin Caballo after the second day of matches.
We are in Tempe for the ASU Invitational for women's beach volleyball. I'm here with Caitlin Carballo. Caitlin, it was a rough weekend. You guys played top 10 teams. Just talk about this weekend, what you were expecting coming in and what you thought coming out of it.
Yeah, so we came in with our everything. We practiced hard all week, and we thought if we put it all out on there, we could do our best, and we definitely did. We put it out there, and I think we competed well, and we were neck and neck with some of the best teams in the Pac-12, NCAA, all of it. So if we just put in that extra effort, I feel like we could definitely take them.
We heard your name a lot today over the PA. What was working for you, and what adjustments do you need to make for next week?
I think the biggest thing is confidence. Having confidence is one of the most important things, because without it, you're not going to do as well. With confidence, you're just going at it 24/7. And going into next week, I feel like just giving that extra effort and practice and really sticking to the details of everything.
So you were home for the first time ever this season, basically. Next week, you're back on the road. Are you used to playing on the road now, or is it still a little different than playing here?
Yeah, so playing on the road is definitely, it's so fun. We get to bond as a team. It's really a lot of good times and memories we make, but here's nothing can beat it. We have our whole crowd behind us, and it's so cool to have all of our friends here cheering our name, and that kind of gives you the extra confidence too, to push you a little bit harder.
Yeah. Caitlin Carballo, Reed Harmon from Cronkite Sports.
Well, it's about that time. Time for the way it is, and Nick, we're going to bring you in here, and I'm not even going to waste the viewers' time by explaining what this is or how it's going to go.
Everyone knows this is our favorite
Everyone
segment.
knows at this point. It's our favorite time of the show every single week. I'm just going to get it going.
Let's do it.
ASU hockey is in Allentown this weekend. We've talked about it already. How do you think they do this weekend?
This is going to be a hot take. I think ASU is able to top Quinnipiac. They've had success against them in past years. You have two really good goaltenders in net and Joey DeCourt and Andrew Shortridge. But I do think that ASU comes out on top against Quinnipiac, but I don't think they make it to the Frozen Four in Buffalo. What about you?
You know, I know about as much about hockey as Chance the Rapper's SNL character, but local scribe Jack Harris told me that he thinks that they're going to lose, and he's been quoted in an ESPN article. I trust his opinion. I'm going to say they lose this weekend.
Okay, that's absolutely fair. Now, from one team that's in the postseason to another, ASU women's basketball playing Mississippi State today up in Portland. What do the Devils need to do in order to have any chance of success against Mississippi State?
It comes down to this. Tierra McCowan's going to get hers.
Yeah.
She is obviously going to put up her numbers. It's about the other options. If ASU can manage to keep the rest of the Mississippi State offense at bay, I think they have a chance.
This is going to sound super generic. I think that they can't let it get in their own heads. I mean, we heard from Garrett, Mississippi State is one of the best programs in the country. They're number one seeded in their region, so it's going to be a tough test for ASU. They need to score early. They need to score often. And if they don't sustain it for literally the entire game, there is no chance that they have any shot of coming out on top.
Now, coming back locally, Territorial Cup points on the line for a bunch of programs, tennis, baseball, softball. Who has the best weekend?
I think it's going to be ASU baseball. The Arizona softball team is ranked. Granted, ASU softball is ranked, but statistically speaking, Arizona is a little bit better. ASU baseball, meanwhile, is far and away better than the University of Arizona. I could easily see baseball sweeping the series. At least 2 games, but we'll see. What about you?
I think ASU softball is going to have the best weekend because this is a chance for them to make a statement. This is a chance for them to say, really announce themselves to the conference. Right now, U of A is ahead of them in the conference standing. They haven't lost a game. I think that changes this weekend, and I think ASU sweeps.
We have some really good games between baseball, softball. I'm excited. I'm even more excited, though, to find out who's going to win this segment. I'm feeling especially confident. I don't know about you, but
honestly, I'm not. So
maybe the producers will penalize you for not having been here the last couple of episodes. We'll wait and see. And, you know, eventually it's going to come to an MCU and what do you know? This is exciting stuff, folks. What's not exciting, though, is the image of the Pac-12 conference. It's struggling, and you'd be hard-pressed to find someone that won't admit that, unless, of course, you would like run into Larry Scott in the elevator or something like that. While on the surface it looks bad, and it is, there's more than meets the eye. The Pac-12 calls itself the Conference of Champions, and in my eyes, that is true to some degree. Now, hear me out. There's been a great deal of success. It's just been in places that very few people see, specifically women's sports. Let's begin with the 5 women's basketball teams in the Sweet 16 this weekend. And on top of that, the NCAA champion of 10 different women's sports have come from the Pac-12 in one of the last 2 years. 14 of 26 possible women's national champions. And I won't say that men's sports in this conference are all bad. Oregon State won the baseball national title last year in Omaha, and there are 4 baseball teams in the top 10 rankings right now. But that, along with men's soccer in 2017, which Stanford won the national championship for, are the only men's national championships for the conference in that same 2-year time frame I mentioned earlier. And my point is this. The picture painted about the Pac-12 conference is bleak, and for good reason. It's been 14 years since a football team won the Natty, 21 since a men's basketball team did so, and an absolute clown is running the conference. But not everything is bad. Call them the Conference of Women's Championships, the Conference of Non-Revenue Champions, whatever it may be. But women's athletics in the Pac-12 are thriving. That's the way it is.
Excellent stuff, Nick. You got to look a little deeper to find the Pac-12 success, but it is definitely there. And what else is definitely there is Hunter Bishop in center field. A big reason why ASU is off to the start that they are is because of this guy at the plate. But not to be lost is his defense. Right there, laying out, making the diving grab. ASU went on to win that game to 12-2. Excellent stuff.
He can hit, he can play the field, he can do it all. Now, we heard about ASU softball's comeback earlier in the show, and it was because of Allie Tatinal's bases loaded triple. 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th inning. ASU scored 9 runs in the bottom of the 7th to complete a comeback. They sent 7 straight hitters to the plate with 2 outs. All of them scored. Allie Tatinal, you love to see someone who doesn't get many ABs come through in a clutch situation like that.
And at number 1, we mentioned him earlier, Death, Taxes, and Zahid Valencia, and he is a stud. Mark Hall, they were 2-2 against each other head-to-head coming in. Zahid Valencia said, I'm going to get mine, go out 3-2. Second natty, drop the hammer. That's good stuff right there.
That was a fantastic celebration, by the way.
Oh,
holy
absolutely.
cow. That's like hockey
Break
level.
the rock. You love to see it.
Big fan. Also big fan of this show. Really glad to have you back.
It's good to
Am I
be
going to
back.
see you here in a couple weeks?
You know what? I don't know. We'll figure it out.
If I'm not, I'm going to be sorely disappointed. It was a great show, folks. Thanks for spending a little bit of your Friday afternoon with us. For our entire production staff in the control room and studio, my partner Andre Sims, I'm Nick Batter. So long, farewell. We'll see you here next time.